Hey guys, let me fix my shirt here. So how are you guys today? There is a bug inside of my car. How did a bug? Yes, it's on the inside. Damn it! How did a bug get in here? Anyway, how are you guys today? Hopefully everyone's good. I need to run over to there's for a few seconds because Bits of Brie put out a life update video and I had some thoughts about it. So she put out this video and I consider myself a pretty even-keeled person as far as how I think about things and how I can look at things from a different perspective if new information is provided. And when it comes to the videos that I've done on Bits of Brie, I have felt like, personally, based on the information that I knew, that she was not being completely transparent about their move to Hawaii. There were a lot of questions surrounding it, a lot of speculation, and usually if you're not the only person that is speculating what's going on and a lot of other people have the same opinion, it's probably because things don't add up. If a general consensus is, hey, this doesn't make sense, it probably doesn't make sense. So either way, that's that on that. But she puts out this life update and she talks about, she was very vulnerable with her audience, and I commend her for that. Anytime someone has the courage to be open and discuss struggles that they're going through, I commend people on that because it's not an easy thing to do. And I also think that it can be good for the subscribers too. For myself, I always want to be really open and honest with you guys about what's going on, and I will share everything that I'm comfortable with sharing, and that could change as time goes on. But she talked about her having some depression issues, and her depression, based on what she said, it stems from seasonal depression. And I actually feel her wholeheartedly on that. I've talked to you guys before about my seasonal depression and issues that I have with cold weather, and I live in an area where we get all 4 seasons, and that can be very difficult to tackle because for some people, warmth and sun just helps out. It helps boost your mood, and so I feel her on that. So we're gonna sit here for a second. So that's where her issues stem from, and that's why they wanted to go to Hawaii. And while I completely understand the part of wanting to escape somewhere with all 4 seasons, especially during the panini that's has gone on for most of 2020 into 2021. I understand all of that, but I think instead of having it be a moment of, hey, I'm just like you guys, this is what I'm going through, it almost pushed her further outside the box because, yes, a lot of people go through that, but there is a small portion of society that is in a financial position to up and relocate and rent a mansion or a McMansion in Hawaii just because they're tired of dealing with all 4 seasons. Does that make sense? It had potential to be something that from my seat it wasn't. All in all, is Brianna K the worst mommy vlogger? No, absolutely not. I also go back to some of the things that she's done that I have voiced my issues with. One of them being charging $1,000 for this YouTube course that I don't think she should be charging for. That just seems like a ripoff. It seems like a money grab. Anytime an influencer is going to push out money grabs to their audience, it knocks down their integrity a little bit in my book. And my book might not matter for anyone, and that's okay. But we're still going to talk about it. So she talked about her depression. She talked about all that, how they decided to relocate, and then they decided that Hawaii was just so perfect. We're going to buy a house here. And she said that they're probably going to sell their house in Ohio, which I think makes sense. And she also said that they're going to be building onto the house in Hawaii, which I think also makes sense. So I said in my other video, congrats to them. If they bought a house and if this is actually going to go through and finish, then congrats to them. Now, if something falls through, then that's going to raise more questions than provide answers. But I just have this bad taste in my mouth when any influencer wants to be relatable and they put out this video or this story, and to anyone who is thinking logically, you're looking at this and saying, okay, you want to put this out so that your audience feels like they can relate to you, but there are not many people that can. A, they don't have a job that they have to worry about. B, they have the money to not only own a home in Ohio, but also rent a very expensive home in Hawaii. That's just not relatable to people. So, swing and miss, I guess, in my opinion, is kind of how I'm looking at this. So I think sometimes it's very easy for people that are in a wealthier position to sit up on their channels and say, well, all of these kind of mantras, you only live once, do what makes you happy. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. All of these things. But it's easy to say that when you have the finances to back it up. And I feel like the mommy vloggers that are successful on this platform, it's almost like playing the lottery, because there are some mommy vloggers that have 5,000 subscribers, if that, and they are trying to mimic what they're seeing. And that's where I have a problem, because you're trying to copycat these other moms by going on the Target hauls, going to Starbucks, buying a bunch of stuff to organize your house, spending all of this money so that you can imitate what you're seeing as success on YouTube. But none of that is needed. None of that is needed. Just be your true self. I think the copycat influencer is where I start to be like, okay, that's enough. It starts to make me very sad to see a lot of them comparing what they're doing to someone like Tiffany Beeston or, any of the more popular ones, Tara Henderson. And that's why I always make it a point to say, you are doing just fine if your kids are loved, fed, they have a safe home, all of these things. Either way, I I hope that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just blabbering today, but I have a lot of stuff that's on my mind. I will end up filling you guys in at some point as to what's been going on, but my brain is kind of like mashed potatoes right now. I have a lot going on, and I think it's something that could be looked at as a negative, but I think that it's going to turn into a positive, because sometimes things don't make sense in the moment, but once you're out of that moment and you can look back, you can actually look at it as a positive. And I'm hoping that's what's going to happen right now. But yeah, it's beautiful outside. So let me go over to Sephora and I will see you guys in a second. All right, guys, I'm back. I am so happy right now. So I went to Paper Source and I was just going to look around. You know, sometimes they have cool office supplies. Do you guys love office supplies like I do? I love like pens and notebooks. I've always been that way. One of the things that I actually liked about school was buying new school supplies. Buying new school supplies was my favorite thing about having to go back to school. Everything else I completely dreaded. So that's that. But yeah, so I've always loved office supplies and all that kind of stuff. And so I went to Paper Source just to see what they had. And, you know, I haven't been to a Paper Source in a while. And they had my favorite Capri Blue Aloha Orchid candle that Anthropologie stopped selling. Aloha Orchid. They still sell Volcano, but now, to my knowledge, unless it's a seasonal thing around Christmas, Anthro is only going to sell Volcano. They will not be selling Aloha Orchid anymore, which is my favorite scent from Capri Blue. I love Aloha Orchid and I love Blue Jean. Those are my two favorites. So they had the Aloha Orchid candle at Paper Source. So I went ahead and treated myself to that. So very happy about that. I love Aloha Orchid, especially in the spring and summer. It's just such a good summer scent. It's kind of floral, but not really. It's very clean. It's not, if you guys know what Volcano smells like, it's not citrusy like Volcano. It's more floral, but in a really good way. It's not like lilac or rose. It's none of that. It just smells very tropical. I love it. So I bought myself that. And at Sephora, I bought my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat Pencil in Foxy Brown. I got the last one that they had. This is a good true brown lip pencil. I know that I always talk about NYX Toast, and Toast is a great lip pencil. Foxy Brown is just a smidge deeper. So if you have really pigmented lips like me, Foxy Brown is a great true neutral brown. It pulls a little more cool than it does warm. So it's not one of those like reddish browns, and those are kind of hard to find. Once you get past the mid-tone brown, a lot of times they pull very warm. And this is a good true brown that pulls a little bit more cool, but it has a lot of depth. And her lip pencils are pricey. They're $22, but depending on how often you use it, it can definitely last a little while. So, you know, something to think about. To finish out my thoughts on Bits of Brie, Brianna K. You know, I feel like at a certain point with these influencers, oops, there went my makeup bag. At a certain point with these influencers, it just becomes like you're in too deep. You know, you're in too deep at this point. And with her specifically, if I was going to come up with an idea of how this could have all been avoided with her getting backlash about the whole Hawaii thing and the speculation, my answer would be that instead of waiting to the last minute, filling in subscribers along the way, if you want to be relatable and you want people to look at you like, oh wow, like she's just like me, whatever, then it could have been a situation where there were videos leading up to that point to say, this is what's going on, and this is how I'm feeling, and this is what we're thinking about doing right now. Instead of it being, hey, surprise, we're moving to Hawaii, and it just coming out of left field. I hope that makes sense, but that's kind of how I look at it. People tend to react a little bit better when things don't come out of left field, and then the story that you tell is very much, people just can't relate with you. People can't relate to that. People can relate to feeling sad, but most people can't relate to just up and moving your whole family to Hawaii and her husband quitting his job. That's not relatable to most people. So anyway, I'm going to have a productive afternoon, and that's going to be it for this video. So if you liked it, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.